Allez, go. Ouais. Tu dois m'empêcher un truc.
Tu joues tour C8?
Non, après, 𝐾D5, machin, plus fou B5.
Fou point?
Ouais, puis on prend tour B3, qui prend, puis on prend dame D7. Tu dois jouer tour B4, je crois.
Tour C4 quand même?
Tour prend,
puis dame B4.
Dame B4. Ouais. T'es un peu mieux.
Ouais.
Là? Ok. Yes.
Pas de problème. Non, sans problème. Je suis pour toi. Merci.
Merci.
Ça va là? Peut-être dame de l'escrime. C'est bon. Bien. Ça va.
C'était ma première fois de jouer avec un joueur de haut niveau. Voilà. Un joueur du top 5 mondial. Et ça, c'est pas donné à tous.
Alors c'est une fierté de voir les joueurs d'échecs locaux, et je pense même qu'ils viennent d'autres pays de la côte ouest, et qui viennent spécifiquement pour nous voir jouer, pour me voir jouer. C'est vrai que c'est un grand honneur, et c'est vrai que, encore une fois, ça peut permettre aussi d'apporter un élan pour le jeu d'échecs, à la fois pour les fédérations, pour attirer de nouveaux joueurs, de nouveaux talents, et voilà, c'est comme ça que le jeu d'échecs grandit. Ah, F4, pas bon. Non, ça tient.
You should know that Maxime Vachier-Lagrave is being covered right now, a documentary on him by French television. They're going to cover him here in this event and also later in Paris. And they've been taking him around, him doing extra stuff for the media. I know he was playing football earlier today against, in the hot sun, by the way, against a couple of youngsters outside. So I don't know if this might have been the best preparation for him. And it's certainly not going to make good television if their favorite son loses in the very first round. So we'll keep an eye on that one. There's a lot of pressure on him to perform. Remember, he was the runner-up from last year after all. So the only way he can go is up in order to improve it, to win the whole thing. We'll see if he can deal with this pressure.
Tout à l'heure, quand je serai absorbé dans la compétition, ce sera pareil que d'habitude. J'aurai toujours à cœur de montrer ma place parmi ces joueurs. Voilà, mon objectif, c'est de gagner. Pour le moment, je me sens bien. Après, c'est difficile de prévoir comment je vais jouer, à quel niveau je vais jouer avant la première journée. Après la première journée, j'aurai déjà des doutes qui seront dissipés sur mon état de forme, sur comment mes connexions marchent. Et voilà, si la première journée va, tout va.
Merci infiniment, merci d'être venu à cet événement qui est vraiment historique. Pour la première fois, en Afrique, un pays accueille le Grand Chess Tour, le circuit de jeux d'échecs le plus prestigieux au monde. Je voudrais remercier tous ceux qui se sont associés à la préparation et à la mise en œuvre de cet événement. Je ne saurais finir sans dire vraiment un grand merci.
Je peux dire que notre pays a des raisons d'avoir de la fierté, d'accueillir un événement d'une très grande portée. Nous pensons que là aussi, il y a un gisement d'action à faire pour que les jeunes de Côte d'Ivoire retrouvent non seulement la sérénité, mais aient le goût de la pratique de sport intellectuel qui peuvent apporter beaucoup à notre pays.
You know, whenever I think of Maxime, I think of the quiet joker, because he has this very serene sense of humor almost, where he's not saying too much, but the little he says means a lot.
Ah bah non, là ça va y être, c'est sûr. C'est sûr. Ah là là. Va falloir que je me refasse là.
I don't think Maxime has many enemies, because he's a very friendly, positive person.
I love the twinkle that's always in his eye when something occurs to him that's interesting, that's intriguing, and he'll be searching for just the right way to make this point. And so he has the sense of humor that when you come to know him, you end up loving him.
Alors je suis supporter de Lyon. Après, donner un coup d'envoi, on a pu le voir, mes qualités de footballeur sont très limitées, donc du coup j'aurais même très peur de rater la passe.
Да, мы оба 90-го года, и впервые мы встретились на чемпионате мира до 10 лет. Вот, и я тогда шел в лидирующей группе, ну, он, соответственно, тоже, но для меня было откровением то, что я, ну, достаточно сильный по молодым меркам, я достаточно высоко уже котировался, и я проиграл французу, который на тот момент, ну, в принципе, я, честно говоря, о нем не слышал. Вот. Ну и с тех пор, конечно, я его запомнил, и уже эта конкуренция продолжается. Ну, если не до сих пор, наверное, это было бы преувеличение говорить, но в целом можно сказать, что мы встречаемся в турнирах практически всю сознательную жизнь.
In Asia, he's very well known. People knew that he was already a rising star back then, and he's improving very quickly.
Yeah, so Maxime and I, we've known each other for a very long time. I think the first time we actually met and played was in Cap d'Agde in 2008, I believe it was. We played a match there. I beat him. I think it was the semifinals. It was a very tense match, but that was the first time we met. I would say it's something of a rivalry, but it's not super intense or super overbearing the way that I think, you know, if you look at well, I mean, anyone who plays against Magnus, for example, there's much more tension going on. Well, I would say Maxime is a very friendly guy, very, very proper. You don't generally, he doesn't say have temper tantrums the way that some people like Magnus will on occasion. He's a little bit on the quieter side, I would say, but he's just overall a very nice guy. And I think in a world like chess, which is so competitive, it's a bit refreshing to have someone who's so sort of calm. Even though I'm sure, you know, at the board he's definitely not, but overall he's pretty relaxed.
Fallait changer de stratégie, ça allait plus. Bravo, oui, oui, oui. Allez, Garry, tu peux passer devant elle. Ah si.
Максим мне, в принципе, очень сильно импонирует, не только как прекрасный и очень сильный шахматист, но и как человек. Он очень искренний, очень открытый, очень добрый, то есть к нему всегда вот можно что-то спросить, вот там вот такая ситуация, такая проблема, такой вопрос, он всегда придет на помощь, и ну, далеко не каждый шахматист настолько искренен и открыт, как он.
Well, obviously, Maxime and I talk mostly about chess. But yeah, I mean, the main takeaway for me is that he's very, very positive and easygoing.
À une époque, c'est un vrai carnage dans mes chambres d'hôtel. Là, ça dépend.
T'as le sourire, c'est une meuf.
Non, c'est un pote. Magnus est toujours le favori du tournoi, mais il y a au moins 5 joueurs qui peuvent prétendre à le remporter. Dont moi, j'espère, même si le start n'est pas idéal. Après, bon, il y a encore 4 journées pour changer le cours du tournoi.
Well, he's certainly one of the best players on the planet, and he should absolutely qualify for the candidates. And the question will then become, will he maintain a certain stability and solidity that allows him to overcome all his challengers when the time matters? And for what I see with Maxime, from time to time, his creativity gets the best of him. Sometimes he's such a genius. He's so instinctive and creative that he wants to create this kind of beautiful chaos on the board when sometimes you just have to be boring and solid and predictable. And I think that that's the balance he has to find so that he can be more consistent or decisive when the moment comes.
He tends to play very principled, so he picks certain openings, he studies them, and he plays them all the time. And I think, if anything, having the lack of variety, being unable to play all sorts of different openings, is actually more of an impediment in terms of him trying to qualify for the candidates. So I think the issues with Maxime have very little to do with his personality and much more to do with his style of play. But having said that, it is nice to see someone playing that style that really hasn't been seen, I wouldn't say, since the days of Garry Kasparov, where you had someone who would play 1 or 2 openings all the time, especially with blacks. So it is a very unique style, and I think in a way it's kind of nice to see it.
Maxime always tried to be very creative, and I mean, the openings he played, they just simply, just reminded me of me in the younger days.
When he plays black, with the black pieces, he doesn't solidly play for draw. He plays open game, which is a very sharp line, a sharp variation, the Sicilian, Najdorf, and it's quite risky. So maybe he should also work for looking for some more solid weapon, just to be solid with the black pieces.
I know that at times he will play the Najdorf, he will play the Grunfeld, and he knows that. Everybody knows that, and he makes the bet that even if he's out prepared, he will make some decision. I will play something, and he will make the bet that even though his position is probably worse, and maybe even a lot worse, that his ability in such positions will allow him to outplay his opponent still, and maybe that he should make more of those decisions, maybe gamble a bit more and play a bit less safely, because that will lead to more fluctuations, but I think on the whole give him better results.
Yeah, this is going to be handshakes, and there we have it. Maxime resigned, our first decisive result. Hikaru Nakamura wins in style with the white pieces. That's it, it's game over.
It's one careless moment. I mean, this after G4, he did not feel, but how could he not feel that the idea was G5, the threat was G5?
Maybe correct a few things. I think it can go better, and maybe start winning some games.
There are quite a few chess players that know how to move the pieces, I mean, just at a very top level. But when they meet at the chessboard, the decisive factor is their ability to sustain the pressure and just to not to crack, just this during the game, because there are many moments where things could go wrong.
Well, Queen H5 is winning, Queen D1 is winning, Queen D3 is mate in 6.
Oh, wow.
I mean, every move that Magnus can choose is just completely winning. What a weird move.
Completely crazy. I mean, Maxime was doing so well. He was playing in the spirit of Najdorf, had this really great position, and then messed it up.
I think maybe a slight lack of killer instinct is a problem for Maxime. But I've seen in tournaments that when he's close to the goal, he he gets there, but maybe sometimes he doesn't want it quite enough.
You can beat one of the top players, and he has been on this position for quite a while, and he will still be there because he's really good. But to go from, top 10 or even top 5 to number 1, it's a huge challenge. It's a giant leap forward. So and you have to start making sacrifices. You have to start, concentrating only on on the goal. So I mean, you should probably you should start sort of creating some sort of not discomfort but kind of a hunger. So just to be really angry with yourself. So this is and always try to challenge your own excellence. So this is basically every game. It's I want to win. I want to make the difference. I want to make the difference. So that gives you sort of the strength to go back and analyze. You have to live with that.
This is a strange blunder by MVL because G5 was so natural, it was played instantly, and I have absolutely no clue what he was thinking.
Honestly, sometimes he just freaks out and does something absolutely crazy, and you think, why did you do that? You didn't have to do that, and he'll lose some game that just doesn't make any sense.
And I just cannot understand this move from MVL. Clearly, the move after G4 was the follow-up G5, and I want to get to your king.
So when he finds that blend of creativity with practicality, then I think you'll see that he has a chance to defeat anyone to challenging Magnus at the very top.
He always finds opportunities. So that's again, but not opportunistic, but it's more like just finding resources. So that's good, especially sharp tactics. So when he has to, he fights back, and he could be dangerous to anybody. I mean, even Magnus, can count few bad wounds received, from Maxime.
Maxime Vachier-Lagrave with his second win of the day.
Yep, coming back at the Frenchman. Perhaps he stopped making this documentary, or they've finished filming him, and now he's back into business.
Well, from what I'm seeing, the most stunning reversal that's going on is what's happening with Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. He started off this tournament really just playing very poorly, not up to his great standards. But all of a sudden, you see yesterday he won 3 games, got the full 6 points, and it just seems like the stars are aligning with him as he's catching a flow. And that's the key word again, flow. When things just start to go your way, you just feel so confident, they start coming at your fingertips. You don't need to give these kind of monsters a second life. So we got to keep our eye on him. I'm sure Magnus is aware.
Yes. He's
giving up every pawn, and this is just hopeless.
And he's coming back.
Oh, what a nice way to finish. 93 check would simplify the position. Maxime, he turns around a lost position, wins a crucial game there against Wesley So.
Very fast calculating chess positions, and math, obviously.
But after knight f4, what is his plan?
There's
he has no way of defending his queen.
It's over.
He
That's it?
What a turnaround.
My God.
2 games in a row.
And he's extremely tricky because of his extraordinary calculating ability and also sense of dynamics. So
close one. I think that Maxime really had messed up.
He lost some time.
But it was already over. By this point, the king was coming to b6.
You had a7 in the end, right?
Well, I think, all the top players are going to see 4-5 move tactics. Maxime's ability to see various tactics extremely quickly help him a lot. And I think that's also why he's so strong at rapid and blitz in particular.
That's going to be an amazing 7 games in a row.
That's it.
For
He's done it.
Maxime Vachier-Lagrave.
Pour l'instant, au stade de la remontada, j'ai mis le premier but de Manchester. Maintenant, il faut voir comment se passe la suite. Voilà. Dans les tournois de Blitz, il y a toujours, voilà, donc il y a 9 parties dans la journée, c'est inévitable de se sentir bien dans certaines parties, enfin dans l'idéal, mais aussi il y a certaines parties où je me sens moins bien et où ça se ressent évidemment dans mes calculs, dans les coups que je joue. Après, je sais que mes adversaires, c'est la même chose, donc on est à égalité sur ce point-là. Then against Magnus, it was a very tense game. I think it could have gone both ways. He definitely could have repeated moves right before the end. He didn't. His fighting spirit cost him dearly for once.
His play in chess is certainly one of the main factors is that he's very, very confident.
Я бы сказал, что он прекрасный тактик, великолепно вот считает вариант.
To achieve really great results without taking risks is hard, and the case is often with people that, unless it's for the World Championship, people are not willing to take the risks that they need in order to optimize their results. So I think Maxime does that better than a lot of people, but he still has a long way to go there.
He's very thoughtful and he's very accurate. He's very precise. He's not the kind who just kind of makes things up.
That is an ambitious move.
So Queen H1 is the threat?
Bishop H4 is actually winning.
What?
Yeah, Queen H1 is a big, huge
Because you can't
threat.
really stop Knight F4 and Queen H1.
Oh my.
But this is Maxime. He's amazing.
Un leader, je vais pas réussir à lui revenir dessus si je lui mets pas la pression. Alors que si je lui mets la pression, il peut en retour justement voilà, sentir le souffle du deuxième se rapprocher. Mais toujours est-il que oui, la partie était très compliquée. Et puis à un moment, j'ai réussi, à partir d'une position un peu délicate, à créer des problèmes. Et ce qui fait qu'ensuite, il a, je pense, un peu pété les plombs, ce qui arrive souvent à des cadences aussi rapides. Et il m'a laissé développer une attaque beaucoup trop forte.
There is stalemate ideas.
Oh! That's tricky.
But now he just takes a nice nap.
You see that, Maxime? Maxime has solved like 80% of all studies.
This is
existing in
completely
chess, so
lost for Magnus.
He knows those things inside out, and Magnus is lost.
Oh,
Okay,
and
my God.
That's an important win for
that
Maxime.
is it.
Yes.
Oh,
you can
and did
see.
you see that? Did you
You
see
can
the
see.
frustration? Magnus is so
J'ai
angry.
battu Magnus, c'est bien. Après, je savais que la journée était très longue. C'est-à-dire que voilà, même après mes 5 premières victoires, évidemment, j'étais heureux.
Well, Sam Shankland played him in a match last year, and Sam lost badly. And he said this guy keeps seeing everything in like 2 seconds, right? Like he sees all tricks.
Ну, не только будущее, но и настоящее. Он один из сильнейших шахматистов мира и, в принципе, в любой момент может сделать еще один, там, скажем, небольшой шаг вперед и уже побороться за мировую корону. Но, в принципе, он уже и так добился практически всего, поэтому, один из величайших шахматистов современности.
I would say one word to describe Maxime. I'd probably say, I would say intuitive or intuition. I mean, basically the intuition that he has is very, very good. So that he's very intuitive.
Maxime, tell us about your tournament. We know the first couple of days it didn't begin well, but then you started playing really well after that. What are your assessment?
It's bittersweet because today I felt like not much was working for a while, and I bet Magnus, of course. I actually played a fine game against him, but a lot of games I was not happy with. I lost 3 games. I should have lost another one to Bassam. So, at least I'm glad I recovered with a sort of fine win.
He's won so many tournaments already this year and just added this one to his trophy case. Everyone, please give a big hand to world champion Magnus Carlsen. Magnus, please. Oh, the doppel.
Donc au final, voilà, le résultat final, il est assez logique. Je pense que j'aurais malgré tout pu faire mieux. J'étais pas satisfait de certaines journées, et notamment la dernière, où je pense que j'aurais dû et pu faire beaucoup mieux. Donc voilà, après Magnus était intouchable de toute façon. Rendez-vous à Paris pour le Paris Grand Chess Tour en juillet.
Cette fois, tu finis premier?
Cette fois, je le gagne.